Hello, hello. Welcome to another Unique Couple Sunday Night Live. I am Linda, and I'm all excited to have you join us for our Back to School special, Unique Couples Back to School special, and we're talking about education matters. So those of you who are joining us live right now, go ahead, hashtag Live Squad. It is good to see you back for this. We're talking about how can we solve what matters in education. Okay, how can we solve? We know that education has a whole lot of challenges. Of course, we have a whole lot of solutions. We have a lot of great minds coming together, and we can definitely do things to make the system work for our children, for our teachers, and of course, for all our stakeholders. So I'm excited to be here for this edition of Unique Couples Back to School special. And I am excited to have some administrators, parents, and teachers on with us today. So stick around, stay tuned. If you have questions, go ahead and put them in the comments, and we will be sure to try to get to them during the show today. So feel free, ask your questions, and then definitely let us know your takeaways when you do have a takeaway. Go ahead at the end, let us know your takeaways. And so we have with us, let's start with Lady Diamond Gia Walker. She is joining us. I'll let her introduce herself. And we're so happy that she is here with us today. So go ahead. We'll have Lady Diamond Gia Walker go ahead and introduce herself. And then we'll have Valencia all the way from Abaco in the Bahamas. She is here. She'll introduce herself as well. Thanks for joining us, Stephanie Boros. We have our marriage and family therapist all the way in Freeport, Bahamas, live with us today. Thank you so much. And listen, remember, go and share, tell someone we are live and we are dealing with the issues, discussing what matters in education, because hey, we are back to school teachers tomorrow. Okay, so go ahead, Gia, and then Valencia.
Oh, good evening. Good evening. I just love your excitement, Linda. Yeah, we are back to school tomorrow. As she said, I am Chia Walker. I have been in education now for over 30 years. I came up the ranks. I was a teacher, a classroom teacher for 15 years, and I have been in administration now for 25 years. So, yeah, that's me.
Awesome. Thank you so much. Thanks for sharing. Over how much? How many years is that? I don't know what I'm going to do at that age. 30?
15 in the classroom. I taught 15, yeah, in the classroom. But I was in administration for 25 years because at
Awesome.
one
Awesome.
point while I was in the classroom, I became a junior administrator. So, yep.
Awesome. Valencia.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Valencia. I am wife of the one Mitchell and mother of two rambunctious boys, 11 and 6 years old. And I've been in the classroom for 12 years, but I've been homeschooling my two boys for the last 2 years. We'll be going into 3 years in this new school year. So that's it in short.
Wow, amazing, amazing. So 2 years homeschooling. That is no easy feat. It might seem so. I know. I did that for about a year. And yeah, it's a full-time job as well, right? Full-time job. Yeah. So I think we have someone else coming on. Hopefully she gets sorted out, and we'll allow Charlize to introduce herself once she gets back on. But let's talk about it. Tomorrow we have teachers back to school, back into the classroom, back into shaping young minds. And then, of course, we have our young kids coming in a week later. So we're here in the Bahamas, live with Lady Diamond Gia Walker, administrator in the government system. And then we also have with us Valencia Hepburn, all the way from Abaco, Bahamas, and she's sharing from her perspective as a parent, and she's also a teacher. Now, ladies, what are some major challenges, maybe possibly administrators, parents, teachers face today? Let's start with that. What are some of the challenges that they face today? And think about that question, and then we'll have Charlize come on. Hello, Charlize. We're just saying, hopefully you get back on and you can introduce yourself. So let us know a little about you and then we'll tackle that first question about the challenges that teachers, administrators, and parents face today. Can you hear us? Charlize, are you there? Okay, so you look a little frozen. Okay, so we'll get her back in. Okay, so go ahead. Yeah. Are you good this time? Are you good this time?
But I
Well, we
hope
can
so.
hear you. Go ahead and introduce yourself before your sound goes off again.
Apologies. My name is Charlize Saunders. I'm an educator. I've been teaching since 2011. I started my career in Eleuthera Harbour Island. I was there for 7 years. Then I transferred back home to Grand Bahama. I was at Martintown Primary School. I'm about to transfer out tomorrow, hopefully. I can't say where I'll be, but hopefully I end up somewhere grand. I'm a mother of three. I'm married, and that's about it for now. I'm a sister. Yeah.
Awesome, awesome. Thanks for sharing. Okay, so what are some of the challenges parents, administrators, teachers face today? Feel free to share. We can start with Ms. Walker. We could go ahead.
Okay, sure, not a problem. No school system is perfect, and we all have our challenges, whether we are in the public or private school system. Many times our resources are limited, and as school administrators, we have to do our best to manage these resources. I mean, let's be real. No budget is ever sufficient. And so we have to make choices that will enable us to provide the best possible education to our students. As an administrator, we make the difficult decisions, whether it's related to, like I said, allocating resources when it comes to budget. Of course, we have to deal with staff members, and then nowadays, technology. We hope the technology works, but it is a man-made product, and it has its good and its bad. So we do our best to maximize those resources, again, because we want to make sure that our students have access to as many resources as they can get their hands on, literally. And I got to put a plug in here. We're thankful that we have so many of our community partners, who can help to ensure that we get some additional supplies in the areas of technology and, of course, other areas around the school. So that's probably one of the biggest challenges that administrators face as we get started.
Yeah. So it's about show me the money, right? Resources, and not just monetary, but also physical, human resources would also be an issue as well. And, making sure that everyone is doing what they're supposed to do when they're supposed to do it. Having to deal with those issues will definitely be a challenge. Okay. Valencia, Charlize.
Hi, I will speak on in the classroom. My challenge, I find students are not, they are distracted. They have a lot of distractions, and that's when we're teaching. We have a lot of strategies. We have a lot of things that we do to try to keep their attention, but daily they have more and more distractions. They have the devices, they have tech, they have everything that they want to do instead of being educated, instead of reading, instead of social studies, instead of even science. And it's been challenging in the area of trying to keep them grounded or keep them focused. Not only just devices, but they have things going on at home. They have social issues. Their parents dealing with certain things. We don't think about how it affects the children, but things that affect adults usually pull the children away, from what they're supposed to be focused on. And I think that's a big challenge with our community. And I think one last thing I'll say, for me, I think as a Bahamian nation, I think we don't give our children I don't want to say the wrong thing, but we don't give our children like the correct goals. I think they are working to become the policemen. They're working to become the people, just regular community people, and they are seeing online. They are seeing YouTubers, and they are seeing astronauts, and they are seeing big professional people, and we still are educating them towards just be community leaders. And nothing is wrong with community leaders. We are community leaders. However, I think they are beyond that. And I think our country needs to rise beyond just creating community leaders or people who could stay within family island lifestyle.
Mm. Now that is definitely deep. Let me go back. Sorry to cut in, Valencia, but let me go back to the social issues part of it. And that was one of the reasons why, I'm in the classroom relating to kids, and then you realize that, hey, they're having so many of these issues, and you want to help, but it feels as if your hands are tied. And so one of the things that really got me was like, hey, you know what, I need to be able to get to the root of some of these problems, which was the parents, making sure that their homes were what it needed to be, like the family life, the marriages, what is happening in the home, because it affects our children. It's like a cycle. And then, of course, these children grow up, and then, they get married or they're in relationships and they have children, and the cycle repeats itself. So we have to look at definitely making sure socially our kids are grounded and they have proper upbringing and their parents are okay, so that when they come to our classrooms, they could be okay. But a lot of social issues, like you said. Go ahead, Valencia. Thanks for sharing that, Charlize.
Yes, I agree with both Ms. Walker and Charlize when it comes to the resources, and so much Charlize said, I agree with it all. One of the challenges that parents face is simply just being too busy. And one of the things that I've had to do, even in transitioning from the classroom and even now being at home, is to simplify, cut out what just isn't necessary. I had to learn to put my family first. And that is with me being at home, because there's always a Zoom meeting, there's always a webinar, there's always a seminar, there's always something going on. And as parents, we just have to get to the place where it's like, okay, my family is home. I could turn this off, or I could mute this. I don't have to be in every chat. You see what I'm saying? Like, I don't have to look at every video post. I don't have to, just like how you were talking about the children being distracted. We are distracted. We are in the bank lines and everybody's on their phone scrolling, so we have to just simplify. Like, we don't have to do things the same way all the time. If it's not necessary, we could cut it out and focus on family.
A mouthful, right? A mouthful. There's so much that we can do, and so many times it just kind of like slips away because we are so caught up in what we're doing that we kind of neglect that side. So thanks a lot for sharing that, Valencia. We do face a lot of challenges, and the thing is, we don't have to face it alone. There are resources. Help is always available, and we can always contact people to help us through it. I don't think that it's just you. So for those of you who are joining us, you are with us for our back to school special, Education Matters. We are looking at how we can solve what matters in education, and we have our special guest joining us today, Gia Walker, Valencia Hepburn, and Charlize Sanders. So another question I'd like to ask is, how can our teachers, administrators, parents, how can we avoid burnout this school year? Now, we talked earlier about some of the social issues our kids face, which is preventing them from performing optimally in the classroom. And now, hey, we want our teachers to prevent burnout. We want our parents to avoid it. And of course, we want our administrators too, because we don't want them to be burned out and then putting the stress on our teachers, right? So what can they do? We know self-care is important. We know taking care of yourself is important, but let's get some strategies and things that these various persons can do to make sure that this school year is the best school year ever. How can they avoid burnout?
Linda, one thing I said this year is that I will be a good team player. And what that means is I will seek help. I will look to others for help. Being a mother of three, I have to. When I was single, I could do all by myself. And as the kids came and piled on, and the marriage and everything, it's like it's only one me. Okay, the marking was a lot. The everything, the lesson planning was a lot. Listen, finding lunch was a lot. Okay, it became a lot, especially after this. I have a baby, a 7 month old baby, a 7 month old, and I just have to pull from wherever I can. Like even my the teachers I will be working with this year, the teachers that I have worked with before, previously, or even when we come into meetings, we always see faces, but we don't get to know, and we could use others for their strengths and just pull wherever we can. Be a good team player and helping as well, but be a good team player and finding others to help. That's my 5 cents.
Awesome. Okay, I see Lancy Fernandez says, as teachers, one big challenge is undiagnosed behavioral and learning challenges. And we
Yes.
know that is definitely a major issue in our school system because, hey, I'm even trying to get the parents to realize that something isn't quite right, which is, of course,
Yeah.
not our place as teachers to do, could be a challenge. But if our kids are diagnosed, we figure out what is wrong with them, then we're better able to help them. And of course, we need the training to be able to do so effectively. So thanks for sharing that with us, Fernanda. Thank you so much. Okay, Valencia, Gia, what can we do to avoid burnout this year because we want a successful school year?
Oh yeah, that's I wouldn't say a key word, but that's a big issue. Yeah, I want to choose my words properly. Yeah, because we hear so much about taking care of ourselves, and one of the key things in that is maintaining a balance. No matter what you're doing within the school, whether you're a school leader, a teacher, you're a support staff member, serving others requires setting aside what you personally have planned in order to help someone else. And so we have to remember, especially as leaders, we want to get our jobs done during the day and then have that energy to have a life at home. And I'm listening to my colleague here. You go home and you've got young children to deal with, so that's a separate life all on its own. And we all want to be able to still have something left of ourselves at the end of the day. And so the key word I like to say, in this scenario, is to maintain balance. We've all heard the adage that says you cannot pour from an empty cup. And so we have to stop making our own physical health a last priority. We have to make ourselves priority, first of all, before we can do anything else. That's self-care. You've been hearing those are buzzwords. We've been hearing that a lot. And when we do this, we'll gain the time, the energy, I like to say the bandwidth that we need to support others. Sometimes, while the workload can be physically draining, it can be emotionally exhausting as well. And so it's easier, what they say, it's easier said than done to do these things. But one of the things I'm going to share, one of my little secrets, one of the things that I find that works, I personally live on a schedule and I schedule everything. Okay. And I find that once we schedule everything, we schedule everything else in our day anyway, when different appointments, whether it's something related to work, whether it's something related to our social lives, we have our scheduling. So my key point that I plan to share with all of my colleagues and everybody that I come in contact with is to practice your own schedule, your own self-care, to make sure that you have that time for you so that you can make sure that you're good before you go out there and share you with everybody else.
Balance, self-care. I'm hearing it. Balance, self-care. Definitely making sure that you are okay and that you are taking care of you. First, I love the teamwork. Making sure you're a team player that Charlize shared as well. And sometimes we neglect it because guess what? Everyone wants to be the star and be out there. And then you burn out and then you're not able to fulfill the 80% of the work that you need to do because you're trying to, the goal is actually the wrong thing. yes, we want our kids. So focusing on making sure our kids are succeed is a great thing, but doing it at the expense of your everybody else is definitely not healthy for you or for other parts of your relationship, because we are whole creatures, right? It's not just the education or mental part of us. We also have a spiritual component as well. And so we can't be beating down our colleagues because we want to be on top, disrespecting or disregarding them, or intentionally being devious so that they don't accomplish things because we want to be the one that shines. So we can't do that and then expect that we'll be great in all of these different areas. We're social beings as well, and we're not created to create havoc. Okay, I just had to put that in there. Okay, someone else wanted to comment on what can we do. Go ahead, Valencia.
Yes. What can parents do to avoid burnout this year? Delegate. Allow the children to do for themselves what they can do for themselves. I have not touched the trash in the house for I don't know how long. I have an 11-year-old. I said, that is your job, right? And of course, it's based on age appropriateness and safety, depending. I set up a little point system in the house, nothing fancy. I use some Monopoly money. I have some little cards on the wall. I write on it like whatever needs to be done, and I pin the money on it. They do the work. They put it in their envelope. They get the points. My reward system is nothing that we have to go to the store for. It's they have a game. I don't even remember what the game is, but they have like I think a Nintendo Switch or something like that I did not purchase. My husband did not purchase. My son baked cookies and raised his money for that. He's had that now for about 2 or 3 years, and that has been out of its place for about 5 times. Oh, you're going to work for the points to use that. And sometimes we're overwhelmed and we get burnout simply because I think back on the previous answer, I said, simplify. Use those things to teach them responsibility. They like to do Zoom sessions online with family that lives elsewhere. I'm like, okay, you want to do Zoom so you can play games with them. Fine. 30 points, $30. Okay. And so like that, they help to, they're folding the clothes. They're doing this. We do have a list that you don't get paid for because you live in this house and there's some things that we all just have to do. But at the same time, they're children. This is a good opportunity to teach them about money, budgeting, all of that stuff. So we're doing all of that. But at the same time, things in the house are getting done that I don't have to put my hand on. So delegate.
Delegate. Key word, helping parents with their kids. I believe you had shared some pictures or shown some pictures. I don't know if we can get those on the screen of some of the things that you do to make sure that, yes, parents avoid overwhelm. So you could explain what is here, what you have here. I think the kids' names were there as well. Go ahead.
Yes, they're little envelopes. I just use regular letter envelopes. I put some heavy duty Scotch tape on it just to stiffen it a bit and stapled everything to the wall. Now, back to simplify. I'm the kind of person, I was going to print this out and make it pretty and do all the fancy things. It probably is going to take me a couple of weeks to get it done. And one day I was just tired. I was like, get the marker. I just wrote on strips of paper, stapled it to the wall. My boys, they like to make videos and stuff. You see film time is 30 minutes. I have a telescope. You want to use the telescope? $30. You want time on your Nintendo? It's $30. So now everybody's like, Mommy, what could we do? And I just go and put stuff on. I say, once you do it, it looks good. You can take the money out, put it in your envelope. It's something that can kind of take care of itself. So you don't have to do anything fancy. You have some paper, some markers, set up your little point system and let those children do a routine during school time. After we're done, even with homeschooling, and we did it when we were in the traditional classroom as well. After school, I did not empty lunch bags. They did that. They put in their snacks for the next day. Now, if it was cooked food, of course, I would put that in their bags. By the time I put that in, their snack, juice, water, whatever was done. And like I said, it may seem simple, but all of those little things add up. So let them do that for themselves.
Awesome. I love it. Anybody else wanted to share? We are talking about how we, us individually, those persons who are listening, how can we solve what matters in education? We just finished talking about how to avoid burnout this year for administrators, teachers, and parents. And for those of you who are watching, go ahead, put your takeaways and comments in the chat, or any questions you have so that our panelists can answer as we are at our back to school special here on Unique Couples Sunday Night Live. Now, you would have heard that we talk a little about, and I kind of like mentioned, hey, we need to make sure that we're doing and, in the correct space as educators, as workers, whoever you are working, you need to make sure that your family is not impacted negatively. You need to make sure that your family life is all right. Yes, you're working, but you need to also put time into your family. And of course, that also means putting time into your marriage as well. So those of you who are married, don't forget to join us for our love challenge that we have with Unique Couples. Go ahead and find these creative ways. It will help you connect, communicate, and collaborate to increase intimacy and excitement in your relationship. So join us with our 21-day love challenge designed to get you and your partner closer using activities that promote intimacy, insight, and intentionality during the course of 21 days. And if you figure you want to do it in 10, go right ahead. So the link is in the comments and the description. Go ahead and register now so that you can be a part of our challenge. Okay, so we want to keep our relationships hot, healthy, because it impacts what we do in our lives. It impacts what we do at school. Hey, problems in your relationship, and then you go to school and take it out on your coworkers, and God forbid, take it out on the children as well. So, ladies, tell us what's hot, what should we be doing, and what's not, what should we definitely not be doing in education or parenting today.
Okay, I can jump right in. What's hot? It always has been, but a lot of times it gets pushed to the back burner. Being an active participant in your child's whole life, their whole life, not just their schoolwork. And for some, that even becomes a challenge. But knowing what your children like, what they don't like, what makes them upset, what makes them happy, just sitting down and listening to them. The other day we were sitting down and I was just minding my own business, and my son, always thinking about something, he was like, do you think Lightning McQueen had life insurance or car insurance? And I was like, who thinks about that, right? And it to me, it was just so funny because his brain was just, he was just thinking, but just knowing our children, and not just like when they're little and cute and cuddly, but as they get older, understanding and, teaching them like what's happening to you. This is why you feel this way. This is why your feelings are shifting, but being a part of our children's whole life, that is always hard as a parent. And then what's not, as a parent, what's not hard, holding on to methods and ways that don't work for my children and for my family. There are some things that even me coming out of the traditional classroom, it took me almost the entire first year of homeschooling to realize that I didn't have to do things the same way like I did when I was in the traditional classroom. And so whether that's the way you manage your home, the way you strategize your time, if something isn't working, it's okay. It's okay to move. It's okay to shift.
Yep.
But let's not be afraid of trying new things. Make Pinterest your best friend, right? Find somebody has figured it out. I guarantee you that. And let's find new ways of doing things. If the old way or if another way that you were doing it isn't working, it's okay.
Awesome.
I'm gonna jump right in on the tail of that. Technology has its good and its bad. So just like you're saying, you go to Pinterest, if they've already invented it, we don't need to reinvent the wheel, so let's use technology to the best of our ability. I love, nowadays there's an app for everything, so it helps to take some of the load off of your time. It's time saving. That's what I want to say. So let's make use of it. So if we leverage technology, and this is something we do in all aspects of our lives, and as an administrator, technology is so helpful. So we need to take advantage because it's efficient and it can be effective, in so many ways when we're dealing with our children, our students, and like I say, in our personal lives.
Definitely use technology. There's an app for that. Use it. And then, of course, use the human resources we have as well. Don't just think that you have to do everything yourself. Use the resources that you have to make that process easier for you. Okay, go ahead, Charlize.
I love that. I love that. And one thing Valencia said too, we could take into the classroom is learning the kids, more than just them being a student, but find out what they're actually interested in, find out what they want to be when they grow up, find out, call them by their name. Like when I did this in my classroom, I had people who wanted to be, let's just say, a veterinarian or an astronaut, or someone wanted to, she had this idea she wanted to be in the army. And I'm like, you can do that. Girls do that, and affirm them, speak into them, let them know that they don't just have to settle for what they see their parents doing. They can go above and beyond, and speak positively to them. We don't know their backgrounds. We don't know what's going on at home. A lot of them come from backgrounds that aren't positive, or they hear people speaking to them negatively. That's what we do not want to do. We don't want to pile that onto them. We want to give them a welcoming area so that they can tell us what's going on with them. We want to make it a safe space in case, someone is messing with them. Somebody is, we want to allow them an area, get comfortable, with them. I think we have lost a lot of that when we couldn't, I guess, when we couldn't discipline too much. We just kept them away from us. But discipline is also a good thing. That I said that too. We need to instill discipline, discipline in the classroom, discipline at home, but also self-discipline, so that we make the rules. But when you're outside, you know that you still have rules, and no one is watching. Right? When you are on the road walking home, you still have rules. No one is watching. When you reach home, you have homework. Your mommy is working, daddy is working. You have chores, you have homework. That's self-discipline to know that you still have to get this work done, and be responsible to bring it home. So all of that.
Awesome. Awesome. Thanks for joining us. I see Samantha is here with us. Nadia shared an awesome suggestion. She said she loved the reward system you shared, Valencia. Thank you so much. And Ramona is here as well, joining us. As for those persons who commented, let us know your takeaways. Let us know what are some of the things that, hey, we definitely do not want to do, what's hard and what's not. In the comments, go ahead and share as we talk about what matters in education. How can we solve what matters, these issues that we have, the challenges, and how can we collectively work together to make improvements? And of course, how we can individually work on ourselves. And for those of us who have children or who are working with children, how we can help them as well. Now, Charlize, you said something earlier that I want to just go back to. When you talk about the opportunity, sometimes we do not expose, and I think you kind of started to mention it again, our children. We don't expose our students to the opportunities that they have. Like there's a whole world out there, but we want to limit them to just the small, but great nation, our 700 islands. Yes, but we want to be outside as well of the 700 islands as well. So we want them to embrace the fact that they live in a global society, and there are careers that they can have or things that they can do that may not necessarily be here present in the Bahamas, but they can, even from here, direct it to the other parts of the world, or even travel to other parts of the world if that's their desire, and still be okay. It's okay. You can travel, you can go other places, and if you want to come back home is here always for you as well. So we want to be able to expose our kids. Don't be afraid of letting them explore what is out there, or telling them that they can do these things. Yes, you can join the army. Yes, you can do all of these different things, but you don't just have to do the status quo. Okay, we don't need 10,000 teachers. We need,
Yes.
teachers, we need some doctors, we need some astronauts, we need all the professions in it. We don't
Right.
need everyone to be police officers, because who are you going to police? We don't need everyone to be one profession. We need multiple variety when we have to build our nation. And so we should encourage our kids to seek opportunities to explore, to know that there's more out there, and then they could create, they can be inventors, they can be innovators. We need to bring that home to them so that they can see that reality.
Yes. With that point, Linda, I always feel for the students who go off to college and they feel like they can't come back home. They go home, they go to school, and they are exposed, and they go into these careers that we don't even offer. They don't feel the need to come back home, um, not even to start something up for us. And I think that's where we lose our minds, our creative minds, our geniuses, because they prefer to stay in the States or in Canada or wherever they may go. But we need that to raise our Bohemian culture, our Bohemian standard, our Bohemian workforce up. And if we have something in place for them, they would not feel the need to stay. Or their parents would encourage them to stay away from home. Because if all the creative minds or all the people who can afford to go away to study don't return, we just stay in this. We stay right here. We don't ever rise. So it's also that for me too, that they go away to study and actually come back. They could represent us well wherever they are, but it's nothing like coming back home to create something new, as you say, invent something new, bring something new that other kids could be exposed to and make our nation grow.
Love it, love it. Let me just read this comment. She said, Aniska said she loved the fact that you stated, because we must remember that setting clear and enforceable rules does help create a safe learning environment for school as well as home. Thanks for sharing that with us. Yes, so we definitely want to expose our kids, and it doesn't have to be that, hey, the item or the career or whatever it is here necessarily in the Bahamas. But because we live in a global society, they can be here and take it to the world. Your clients don't have to be like, you don't have to have one Bahamian customer for something that, hey, no one in the Bahamas needs, but you can be right here living in the Bahamas because of technology. We know COVID taught us that, to use technology, and you can have resources coming in from here to the world. So that's also another option that we have, and we must share that with our kids as well.
Got to jump in here, Linda. I just came back from an administrative conclave with education officials, and the director of education, Mrs. Russell. That was one of the things she highlighted as what we're looking for moving forward in education. Just like you said, we may be here in the Bahamas, but we have to prepare our students for that global competitiveness. So whatever it is that they're learning here, they need to be able to take it wherever they go into the world. And so she's very big on us putting that into our curriculum this year. So, we have to prepare those children, not just for our beautiful 700 islands of the world, but for the wider world, indeed. So, we have to make sure that education meets those needs to prepare our children for wherever it is that they go.
Definitely awesome. Thanks for sharing that. We definitely need to help prepare them. So, ladies, what advice? We're wrapping up. Thank you so much for sharing. We have just one more question. Those of you who are watching, go ahead, put your comments, your takeaways, or our final questions. Go ahead and put those in the comments for us. And then please, like we said, help is always available, right? But people wouldn't know about help unless they know about help. So do share this session, this live, this video, however you're watching it. Share it on social media, share it with your family and friends, share it with educators, and so we can all help and grow together. Now, ladies, what advice would you give to parents, teachers, or administrators as they face this new school term? Okay, so let's get one, because there's just so much points that you're saying like all at once that I have to go back and rewatch this myself to catch all. So let's do one at a time, and then we'll come back and do another round. That way it could kind of like sink in. And then we could probably write some of those points in the comments as well. So you can give one Gia, then you could go Valencia, and then Charlize, and then we'll go ahead again and do another one. So let's do one, and then we'll come back again to give another point. Okay, so what, everyone got the question right. What advice would you give parents, teachers, administrators as they face this new school term?
Okay, so since we're coming back, my first effective strategy that I would share is to develop strong relationships. One of the ladies mentioned it a little earlier as well, but we want to develop those strong relationships with teachers, all staff members, of course, our parents. You're coming into the school to teachers and administrators, and of course, those relationships with students. We want to make sure that everybody trusts each other, because that's key when it comes to our working environment.
Awesome. Develop strong relationships.
Discipline, discipline, discipline. I mean, all around. And more than just, beating. I think we've come away from beating. It doesn't do much. I have a 2-year-old. To beat her is to laugh. She laughs. So imagine a 10-year-old, 12 and up. But discipline in what they want to do. I love Valencia's idea of rewarding for things that they want to do, because it'll encourage them to do the things that they don't really want to do, but they know they have to do. And just focusing on getting them to be able to do things when you are not around. The manners and the respect, that's discipline. The being on time, that's discipline. And just overall being a good student. Like, you will get chosen. Students who are chosen to represent us, they are the most disciplined students. They're the ones who we don't have to speak to often. We don't have to discipline them, because they already have discipline. So that's my point.
Love that. Self-discipline, right? Yes. Go ahead, Valencia. Mm-hmm.
All right. So my first point is strategy. Pray for strategy. Research strategies. And I guess that goes with discipline, and also with Miss Gia had said, like, it comes together. Like, you need to find your strategy, what works for you, your home, your family, and your children's needs.
Thank you so much. Strategy. We must definitely have that. So we looked at developing strong relationships, discipline, definitely having a strategy. What else can we do to make sure that we have this great successful year as teachers, administrators, and parents? What advice would you give them that we could implement this year? Go ahead and share some more of your views.
Okay, the second one would be stay on the cutting edge. In education circles, we call it professional development, but we can learn about any subject nowadays. Again, it goes back to technology. We can learn about it online, through books. It doesn't matter. Whatever it is we want to get more information about, we need to make sure that we're getting or doing the research, so to speak. Yeah, so we can learn about and keep up with, our ever-changing community and the world.
Listen, I have to put a plug in, because that just reminded me of something Vito would constantly say, right? He's like, oh, on your jobs, you're always doing professional development. Well, in your marriage, you need to be doing the same thing, right? Your relationship. So yes, we need to be on the cutting edge as it relates to what we're doing as, administrators, as teachers. We need to be on the cutting edge. Parents, making sure that we find and know about these resources that we can use to help our children, our students, our teachers, right? But then also in our relationships, we don't want that to lag behind. We want to make sure that we are keeping that exciting. We are doing the things, we're attending the marriage seminars and the retreats and reading the books. And of course, you can get all of that at Unique Couples. So, hey, stick around and join us in our How to Strengthen Your Marriage group on Facebook. Go ahead and connect with us on our 21-day challenge. Look out and listen out for the release of our new book and, of course, our retreats and workshops. Thank you very much. Okay, Valencia and then Charlize.
All right, so my next point in facing this new school year is don't be afraid to pivot where necessary. You try something, it does not work. Don't be afraid to change. You owe no one anything. Parents, doing the best that you can for your children, for your home, for your family. So if something doesn't work, pivot.
Awesome. Pivot.
Okay, this is last but I hope not least. We have to bring God back into our children's lives. I had classes upon classes of students who did not go to church. And I would always ask them because I want to know, who that helps too in with discipline. You see the children who don't act out of character too often. But why is this important? Because showing them God or doing the things of God when they're in youth programs, the church can help us. The church can help teachers. The church can help um, parents. The church is something in the community where I can speak for me and my church, where I found my voice, where I was trained in doing the dances, doing the singing in choirs, where I found my confidence, where I could do an exhortation every so often when I got older, and that helped me when I was able to go on the workforce, because I'm presenting every day. I'm in the front of people every day, parents and students. So the church has helped me, and I know the church can help the students as well. That would be something I plug in. Get God into our students' lives. Get church into our students' lives. We all need Him. We all need Him.
Definitely. Any final advice, ladies, you want to share of how we can make? We're wrapping up. We just have one more. For those of you who are in the comments, thanks, Janita, and all of you who are joining us here on our Unique Couple Sunday Night Live. We are all excited about this new school year, and of course, not just the school year, but life in general. At least I am. Life in general on a whole, because no matter what profession you are in or what you are doing, you have to really love what you do, because that kind of makes it easier to wake up out of bed to actually go to where you're going. So if you are not finding joy in what you do, either find the joy or do something else that will bring the joy. I'm sorry, that wasn't planned, but I have to say it. Like, find the joy in what you're doing, or go and do something else that will bring the joy. But don't be miserable doing it, because then you're going to impact everybody else around you. And we definitely don't want our kids to have that. And so with your relationships, develop those healthy relationships with interactions with your coworkers, with parents, with the students, develop those healthy relationships. And then, of course, maintain healthy relationships at home as well. Do not ever neglect the home because you're doing work. And I know about being in the spot where, you're so busy doing all of those things that you neglect family, and it's not healthy. So we want to, as we talk about all of this and what matters in education and how we can solve the problems, also remember that you have to take care of you, and you have to put your family first. You have to prioritize even what you do, because you can't make sure all of the kids get all the A's and then you come home and then your kids are getting F's. So you have to make the connection, make it work. Okay, make it make sense for your family as well. So ladies, if I don't know if anyone has any final advice that they want to give, but you can think about that. But let's share. How can our viewing audience follow you on Facebook or on social media? And what do you have going on? What projects are you working on? What are you doing? And how can they get in touch with you? Let's share that first, and then we can share our final advice.
Okay, well, on Facebook, Valencia Hepburn, we have a family YouTube channel called Happy Island Life, where we are just simply showing how we do life, as simple as possible here in Abaco. And the goal really for the channel is to show people a simple way to do it. Like, you don't have to have all the frills and the trimmings. As simple as gardening, as simple as our little methods that we use for homeschool, little ways to help your children. It doesn't have to be so formal all the time. If a child can lie on the floor and learn their spelling words, if that works for that child, that's fine. And so that's basically the basis of the channel, just showing just how we do life, and hoping that it helps another family along the way. I also have a girls club called Valor Girls Club. It's on Facebook, where every other Sunday we meet. It's been going on for 10 years now, outside of the COVID period, I should say, where young girls from the community come, and I teach them to sew and just do everything. We talk about everything. And the goal for that is to really expose these young ladies to as much as I can give. We brought in people from the community to teach them about different things, so that, like Miss Charlize had mentioned about, like, exposing them to more, allowing them to see that there's more to them in this world.
Awesome. Thank you.
I'm on Facebook and LinkedIn as Chia Walker. I'm big about self-care right now. So sharing motivational and inspirational tips is what I'm all about. Because, you know, like you said, I love how you said it. If you're not getting excited about getting up in the morning to do what it is that you're being paid to do, you need to find something else to do. So we have to find ways to stay motivated, to keep ourselves motivated, to keep others motivated at the same time, so that we don't lose our minds.
Definitely not. We definitely not. Like, after doing all of that and putting in all the work and going to school and stressing about everything else, you don't want to come here now at this point and
Yes.
it's not working. Like, it doesn't make sense, right? Doesn't make sense. Go ahead. Thanks for sharing, Valencia and Gia. Charlize.
My Facebook name is Cha Cha Lease, and that is my social network name, I guess, that I would have gotten from my youth pastor. Well, he used to call me Cha, and in rebranding myself, because I don't always like to give people my name. What I mean is my name, Charlize, Cha Charlize. He always used to say Cha Cha or something like that. And I recently committed my life back to God, and I am all about that. I like how Ms. Walker said she's big on self care. I am big on Jesus Christ. I am on my WhatsApp status. Anybody who knows, I am full passion, sharing a word, a weekly word, sharing a daily scripture, sharing some music, sharing everything on there. And I actually today, God said, you know what? WhatsApp ain't enough. Let's go on Facebook. Let's go on
Yeah.
Instagram. And I have to learn those platforms. I realized when I post today, I have to learn those platforms. But I'm coming. I'm coming. I can tell you that you see here, I'm speaking. I am in my speaking season because this is not me. I was a quiet girl. I was somebody who would, I don't know, not even wait last to speak because I don't want to speak at all. But I told Linda, I said, God, I have to, I have to do whatever it takes to represent him and to do what it takes for the generation, our generation, and the generation that coming after me. So that's what I'm all about right now. I'm hoping to publish a book. I'm in training. I'm in training. Everyone is like, you should publish a book. But I'm like, I'm in training. When God says go, we gone. So
Awesome.
that's me.
Awesome. I am so glad because, hey, you couldn't tell that, hey, she's not the speaker, right? So she's definitely in allowing God to be, use her. She is actually, allowing the gift to come out. You are definitely in your speaking season, but it's more than just a season, right? More than just a season. Thank you so much for joining us. Thank you for sharing and agreeing to come on, even though you might have had reservations. And thank you so much, all of you, Gia, Valencia, and Charlize, for sharing today and sharing your invaluable experiences and thoughts as we talked about how can we solve what matters in education here on Unique Couples Sunday Night Live. So final words, ladies, before we go. And then, of course, those of you who are joining us live, you can go ahead and let us know your takeaways as well. And share this video, share this live. Final thoughts before we leave.
Just to add to what Charlize said about bringing God back into our children's lives. Earlier this year, my family, we decided to spend 1 hour a day reading the Bible. And we didn't even know where we were going with it. And we read through the entire Bible. I think we started in March. And if someone had said to me earlier the beginning of this year or last year, that we would have had time in a day to cut out and spend just 1 hour reading the Bible, I'd have said, ain't no way. And that has done so much for us. I mean, the atmosphere of our home has changed. Things that we were dealing with, it was just lifted away. Like all of a sudden, it just made sense as to, and we finished the Bible, and then we just finished yesterday another, I guess you can say, religious book. And then today we're starting another one. It's more of like a family type book. And we do plan on going back to the Bible again, but it's done so much for us just spending that time together each day, the conversations that have been brought up through that. So definitely, we talk about bringing God back. The church is, you get yourself in a good church, is a good training ground. A lot of my speaking ability and singing and all of that stuff was developed in the church. So if there's a local church that you trust, that you know has a good youth, a children's program, or it might be another youth organization in your community that is purpose for helping our children, get them involved.
You know how the children said, she said what I was going to say. Well, what I want to say, what I really was going to say was physical education is important. We need physical education. We do that at our schools. What we need is spiritual education. And that's from home, that's from school, that's from church, that's anywhere we go. We need to build our children up, not just physically, but they could pray to God for the get strength, or to just know that if mommy isn't around, I can speak to God. If daddy isn't around, or some issue is happening, because we a lot of times neglect the kids when big things are happening at home. So we need to get them in the Word of God, so that they know Him, to get Him to pray, to get them to pray when things are going on with them. So spiritual education is important for our kids.
Wonderful, wonderful. And
Put God first in everything. Let Him lead you, and you know, that will make all the difference. Putting God first. Yeah, they've said it all. They took my answers.
well, I'll just have to wrap up and say definitely making God a priority in your life, in your relationships, and when you have problems. And sometimes we have these problems, and they might say it may seem so small, and then of course we have these problems that are so big. One of the first things that, hey, we need to do, some of the things that I do, just take a moment to just pray. You know, God is interested in the very smallest details of our lives. So before you feel overwhelmed with dealing with whatever situation it is, whether it's in the classroom or with an administrator or parents or children, take a moment to give it to God and pray. And then, hey, Lord, help me with the strategies. So doing that will definitely help. It's something that has been helpful for me personally. And I know that for those of you who are people of faith, you know that it definitely brings great reward. Yes, Samantha said, ensure that our kids know God. That it definitely will make a difference. So we want to avoid burnout, because we're going to do that by taking care of ourselves. We're going to make sure we have balance. We are going to make sure that we are disciplined so we can teach our kids. And when I say kids, you know, I kind of like mix it up. My personal kids, as well as the children that we come in contact with, so that we can teach our children to have self-discipline as well, because it is going to help them. And as persons who work with young people, we need to definitely make sure that we show them opportunities where they can do and be more. Not be afraid to shine, not be afraid to do it, being a team member, and not going out there and hurting people or trampling on people and thinking that is what is going to get them their way. No, we're working together as team members. We're working together, helping each other, so that indeed we can build a better nation, a better country, a better world as we work together. Thank you all so much for joining. Thank you for those lovely comments. Lovely. Thank you, Kay. Lovely notes for sharing. Samantha and the Blossoming Place, Dr. Scavala, thanks for joining us as well. All of you who joined and didn't put any comments, remember to share. Okay, we like to say share to help. And for those of you who have not joined us in our How to Strengthen Your Marriage Facebook group, go ahead and join us there and connect with us. Go and join us with our 21-day love challenge. and make sure that you have healthy relationships, which start at home, so that you can be great at work as well. Okay. Find something that you're excited about, find something that brings you joy, and take the moment to do it and then share it with others as well. Thank you all for joining us here on Unique Couples Sunday Night Live. We are building stronger couples, healthier marriages, and happier families. Goodbye. Thanks for joining us. Love you all.